My name's Joe K. It's itsJoeKMusic. I got a special episode today. We're going to be giving an update here on the whole Godemis situation. And not only are we going to be doing that, but I got a special guest with me, everybody. I'm going to let this guy introduce himself because I know darn well I ain't going to be able to do it justice. Go for it, man.
Damn, Joe K, you know this has been a long time coming. It's like a meeting of the minds. Whoever the fuck we're talking about tonight, better watch out. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chuck motherfucking Reeves. You might know me as the Beast host. You might know me as your rapper's least favorite internet commentator. You might know me as the dude who made Violent J sell his office and move his entire record label into his house. Beast host, you know what I'm saying? Currently head creative of Scumbag Superstar, previous Grind Mode General, Thorn and Team Backpack side, Thorn and Hobson side.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I forget my own history, but there's a lot there.
Dude, you're a staple in the underground, man. I'm glad that you can make it today. I want to dive right into this crap because I think the people have been asking, and there's been a lot of different side conversations going on. I want you to give your perspective on all of this and tell everybody from, kind of from the outside. It's kind of inside out, right? Like you're a huge follower of Strange. I know in the past, like you've talked a lot about the different things that they've had going on, different situations that have come up, really that entire scene. Like you're pretty heavily involved in that. And so I think having your perspective here is going to be great. Let's go ahead and just dive straight into these screenshots. Some of this is going to be repeat of the first episode here, but I want to lay the foundation of what we're going to be talking about moving forward through this video. The very first thing that we have here, it is a first message that I sent to Godemis saying, hey, I'm reaching out. I heard about the situation you had with Sleep. I really just want to give you an opportunity. Let me know your side of the story. I really just want him to get his feature, contact him ASAP with a solution so that this can be worked out between you guys, right? That's really where all of this started. All of this started with that. And Chuck, I at this point, just based on this, forgetting what you know, tell me kind of where your mind would be at receiving a message like this.
I call that due diligence in our line of work, that you clearly had some information about a deal gone sour and you were contacting him for comment or to inform him if there was somehow a scammetry that he wasn't involved in going on, or maybe a third party, perhaps a manager, was getting in between him and Sleep on this. It seems like you were giving him every opportunity to clear up any of that. And I see his answer here was just to kind of give you a bad attitude and laugh in your face.
Dude, that's it, man. Like you literally summed it up. And I'm gonna get to the screenshot here because it gets really interesting as we're going through here and we're taking a look at all of these. I mean, these go forever, and we're gonna touch on every single one of these here. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna get things pulled up, but
just like anybody in the media, it looks like you did the responsible thing and you reached out to one of the direct subjects involved in a story you were preparing in order to get all information from all sides. I do that. I suggest to all people to try to do that at least 3 different ways on each story. So this is not an out of line conversation. This is not an out of line question, even if it was something that was completely fraudulent and made up on whoever told yours end.
Right. And that's the approach I tried to take on this. I never go at people straight out the gate until I give them an opportunity to tell me their side, right? I'm not just going to go around blasting everybody. If I did that, people wouldn't trust the information coming out. And you know that, Chuck. Like, you've been down this road before. You ain't going to come in anybody half-cocked, right? Like, you're going to get your stuff together. You're going to be talking about it. And the screenshot that we're looking at now is basically, it's Godemis saying, he just sends back LOL, right? And I'm like, is that funny? Like, you're not going to give me an answer? Is that funny? I didn't say anything to him, right? I left it at that. I left it at that for days. When I dropped the video that following day, because I'm just like, oh, okay, clearly you don't want to get this taken care of. You're not working anything out with Sleep. Like I was talking to people in Sleep's camp and trying to figure out what was going on. He wasn't he wasn't about to do anything for him. So I put the video up and then he responds with like, "Hey, can you take your video down? Like everything's being worked out. You ain't ruining my career. I got tons of people on my side," which is interesting to me because
I love that argument, the Stan argument of people are not smart and people aren't going to believe you. Well, the truth should not be dependent on how many people believe it. And that's always been a philosophy of mine. And I know it's always been a philosophy of yours. My favorite line on this entire page is "my girl has connections with YouTube anyways." And then he hits you with the purple devil as if to say, like, she was Jack from Twitter.
yeah, dude, I love that crap. Like that, honestly, when he said that right there to me was like icing on the cake. Like I knew it was a rap. At that point, I knew it was a rap. It's like when you start pulling out the like, "Hey, I know somebody on Twitter that's good," or I know someone on Twitter, on YouTube, on freaking Facebook, Google, wherever this person is, this magical Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain, that's just gonna come and like remove everything that I said against them. Which, in my defense, all I did was lay out the facts. I didn't say anything that crazy or reckless, right? The things that were speculatory, I left it speculatory. I left the door open so that if we got word that something wasn't exactly how people were describing, we could still be good. I'm not going to go out here and try to purposefully ruin somebody's career without any evidence or any information on the topic, and I certainly want to be trusted. So why am I just going to start spewing random crap out there? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So let's go ahead then. I'm going to go through this.
So do we know you clearly spoke to Sleep? He don't want the feature anymore. So do you know why Sleep didn't want the feature anymore? Was it because he had a bad taste in his mouth over the entire ordeal, or was it something else?
So I talked to somebody in Sleep's camp that manages Sleep, right? Works with Sleep. And really where this started at was he this is over a span of like 4 or 5 months, right? So he wanted his verse. Everything was super cordial, and you guys can go check out the last video. It has all the screenshots between Sleep Lyrical and Godemis, but everything started out real cordial. Dude was sending installments. He overpaid. Like the collab was like $500 and he ended up sending him like 700 something because he just wanted to get the verse done. And
like to prompt him almost pre-tipping on Uber Eats and shit to make sure the food gets there.
Yeah, dude. So like the respect was there. Like clearly he's not going to just throw money at him for no reason. But where this went south was after all this happened, after he realized like, dude, I ain't getting my verse. Like that's when he put it on blast. Like he blasted it, right? Like he put it on his social media, everything that was going on. And once he did that, I started getting tagged in it. I reached out to his camp. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on with everything? Is it, is it cool if I move forward with this?" I'm probably gonna do it anyways because he put it on social media. So like, once you put it on social media, it's a wrap at that point.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
I still at this point like I'm trying to figure. I'm trying to do the right thing, but ultimately, what it came down to, he just had enough. He just had enough. He was getting screwed around for too long, and he just said, forget it. He tried getting a refund. He set up a payment plan with them like after the video dropped, all of a sudden they set up a payment plan, right? So in some of these screenshots we're going to look at, you're going to see like he's talking about like he's got, all this money and crap and whatever, like Godemis is saying he's got all his money. And then in the same breath, he offered $20 a week to Sleep Lyrical to pay back $775. Dude, I'm nobody, right? I'm nobody. I could go back and I can guarantee you I can make bigger payments than $20 a week. And for somebody that's supposed to be, so big and fronting like they're making all this money, it's just not a good look. Like you can't have it both ways. You just can't. And what we're looking at here, like you were mentioning before, like basically Godemis coming back and like he's sending me these clown emojis and crap, and he's saying like, "Oh, you're 704 subscribers," and like check my stats. Yeah.
We back up.
Yeah, let's back up, man.
Because he told you to tame your mullet. I'll give him props for that one.
Yeah, that had me rolling, dude.
Nobody gives a fuck about your reaction video. Well, clearly you did. I'm still out here doing shows and on the label is Ces Cru. Okay, so I want to talk about that for a second. We know, because anybody who saw it, Ces Cru dissolved at some point in the last 4 years. And I'm not going to get into specifics because a lot of it would be hearsay, but at some point Godemis left the tour that Ces Cru was on and left Yubi to do the rest of those shows by himself. Now, so I see he's out there doing shows, right? But you see who's not with him.
Yeah.
You see who's not with him, right? You see who's not promoting any of those. Okay. Where are strange music artists doing shows right now, Joe? Are they doing them in bars in Kansas City, or are they doing them at the sound stage at Strange?
You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. Bingo.
So there's that. Now, as far as Ces Cru still being on the label, we'll get to that in a little while. But he may still be drawing some sort of a regular payment from Strange as part of an overall contract, because if you're familiar with the Ces Cru contract and some of the other contracts at Strange, they're structured different. So in my knowledge, the Ces Cru deal had more to do with a regularly scheduled guaranteed amount of money instead of, hey, we're going to shoot for what the maximum we think we're going to make is. We'll take less as long as you guarantee us money every month instead of us gambling and for that bigger dollar amount potentially. So he may be getting $50 fucking a week from Strange Music still to pay off whatever is left of whatever contracts. And that might be what Homeboy's basing his payoff plan on.
Yeah. No,
because nobody's doing good right now.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. He should, this is a bad look for him, because this is one of the few ways he's going to be able to make money, because I don't see him on the internet. Like, there's very limited ways for entertainers to make money right now. If you ain't selling pussy online, I hope you're selling some raps. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, you're right, man. You're right. And I think
and then he just got insulting to you, which that to me, when you did not accuse nobody of nothing, you didn't call him a broke ass, you didn't call him no names, and he all of a sudden you won the argument because everything you said was correct.
Yep. Dude, I literally said nothing. Like, he sent me all this stuff. Like, you could tell when someone's mad when they send you like the immediate 10 to 15 separate individual messages of just their anger, like just pissed off. Like, I'm going to give it to you all. And I'm like, dude, clearly it affected you, because when you have somebody like, I think my channel in particular is very interesting because I don't have a huge amount of subscribers. I don't have videos with huge amount of views, but every time that I put out content that matters in the underground, underground takes it off.
You're influential to influential people.
That's exactly it, dude. That is exactly it.
Your average fan does not know you. But every fucking MC to come through the door in the last 5 years does, because you were involved in so many large scale hip hop and underground things, whether you were directly involved, whether you had a very hot take on a subject. And it was things like Funk Volume and the Don't Funk Up Our Beats contest and Team Backpack and all these things that we literally have seen shape our underground world over the last 5 years. So I'm not surprised by his attitude, because I'm sure he asked and somebody, because typically that's what happens with me. Who's this motherfucker?
Yep.
And somebody said who you were, and that's what set him into his little fucking shitstorm of a tizzy there.
Well, and this was after the video went out too. So I know, because people were sending me stuff. People were blowing him up with this video, dude. There's Reddits out there about this thing. There's all kinds of stuff in all the street team groups on Facebook and social media that they're sharing the video. People were sending it in, dude. People sent it in to TMZ. People sent it in to Vlad. Like, I know nothing's gonna happen.
No,
with
you know
that,
what's
right?
you know what is the most, I learned this recently. You forget that these guys, some of them aren't as famous as we like to think they are. So
Hmm?
you send something like the fact Ritz got arrested to TMZ, and you realize no one gives a
They
fuck.
don't care, dude.
And then like people say to you, if he got arrested, it'd be on TMZ, and you don't want to break some fucking poor underground rap fan's heart by telling them their fucking white Jesus isn't real.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's exactly it, man. And that's what happens. Like, that's what I try to warn people about, because I feel like a lot of these, like, mid tier underground rappers, and that's not a knock on anybody, right? There's levels of this stuff, and I feel like the people that are, we're talking the people that are below, like Tech 9 Hobson level, right? Like, I would still, I mean, Tech's, I don't even want to get in that argument, because I feel like people can argue that Tech 9 is pretty dang
Well,
mainstream
towards
at
the
this
end,
point,
that's going to
and
be part of this conversation
yeah,
a little
but
bit.
this mid tier stuff, like, when you do bad business and you're doing business with people that are low tier underground rappers, and again, not a knock, it's just there's levels of this crap. That is going to spread like wildfire, dude, because the underground community, there's so many sub communities within it. You have Strange, you have Funk Volume, you have ICP, you have Atmosphere, Rhymesters. Like, you have all these different groups within the underground. But when this kind of crap hits, it goes everywhere, and people care about it. And that's the mistake that I feel like he made, because he could have handled this 10 different ways that would have probably produced a better outcome.
A positive, a net
Yes.
positive as a result of a net negative, because there's always a way, if a person comes to you, for you to be able to correct yourself and correct situations without the person who brought you the opportunity to correct those situations feeling like you're now attacking them.
Well, and one of the screenshots here I'm pulling up is this, it's from Mr. Ces Cru, right? And what's hilarious about this is when I dropped the video, I'm sitting there going through my emails, like seeing, who's responding, so I can respond to
Is
them
that
on
this
the YouTube.
Jazz G person? Because I don't know who this is.
No, that's a different one. We're gonna get to that, because I was getting some, like, you better not run into Godemis crap. But the one I'm looking at here, it's just a screenshot of the YouTube comment from Mr. Ces Cru, and it says, "I assure you, I do not conduct business in this," and it says dot dot dot. And the reason it's grayed out is because he deleted the comment after he sent it in. He, like, tried to go back
Oh,
and delete it, but I still had the email in there, which is what was freaking hilarious to me, because I'm sitting here like, dude,
I see it now. All right.
like, it's right here, it's right here,
Yeah,
and
you had him. Yeah, you had him pacing at 5 a.m. That shit happens.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, he could have just said fucking like, look, man, this is the situation. I'm fixing it. He could have put out an IG video of himself explaining, look, he could have turned this into a net positive where he's like, look, if there's an issue of discrepancy, order a verse from me right now. You'll get 24-hour
right,
turnaround. And then he has the money to pay back whoever he has to pay back. And then he's kind of proven that maybe you're just an asshole. The
yep,
story, whether true or not, has now been trumped by a better story that he took discount verses over a weekend and knocked out 8 of them or some crazy shit.
yep. And the next part, I want to get your input on here, because I feel like it's kind of a touchy subject, right? I think especially in 2021, with how things have gone over the last year, I think people's mental health has definitely been impacted over the last year. And
This
I think,
shit wasn't right before. And like, to be honest, none of our shit was right before. But why do you think he would take off from a tour if his mental health was fucking straight? Why do
yep,
you think he just kept sending fucking like, there's a lot in these messages that screams to me not being all there. Now, that's the thing. I can't hold, that's not an excuse to do bad business. That's certainly not. And I earlier he blamed like writer's block or something. And it's like, you gonna tell me you ain't wrote shit in 5 months, fam? Like, you ain't
Yeah.
wrote a fucking thing. You ain't had a fucking shit fart on a napkin. You ain't done nothing.
What do
I
you
don't believe you.
where do you think Strange's responsibility should be in this? One, do you think they're responsible in these kind of situations? One, for the scamming or the lack of delivery on verses, and then two, where is their responsibility for the artists that they've signed
Okay.
to make sure that their mental is in the right spot?
This is what I'm gonna say. If I don't now, to be honest with you, maybe I should have paid better attention during your first video. Does he represent Strange on any of his social medias? Like, d- it,
He's been telling and arguing with people that
but what
he's
I
still a
mean
part
is,
of
okay,
Strange.
so that aside, because to be honest with you, lies he wants to tell people in his inbox that are unrelated to the situation are not fucking admissible. When he spoke to Sleep Lyrical, was he speaking to Sleep Lyrical as, hey, get strange music artist Godemis on your track? Or was he saying get Godemis on your track? Because that's what we're dealing with these
It
days.
that's an interesting point, and it was positioned as Godemis slash Ces Cru, which I think is even
You
more
could say
interesting.
Godemis of Ces Cru. Like but
But
that's the thing.
but it
And
went
you're
it
not
went it went further than that though, Chuck. It went further than that. It was, do you want a Godemis verse or are you looking for Ces Cru? So it was being offered up as an either
well then,
or,
but I
and if
don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know
that
that internal.
but
Now,
that
this is
but
what I'll say
go
about
ahead,
Strange in
go ahead.
particular. We've dealt with this before. People have short memories. There was a guy long ago whose name was Cut Calhoun. Cut Calhoun was ripping people off from sea to sea. His fucking manager, fucking Fagorot, to
Yeah.
quote Gmo Ski. If you don't know who we're talking about, I'm not going to utter that fucker's name because if I say it 3 times in this mirror, he might show up here and try to eat all my snack cakes. Okay. Cut Calhoun was selling Tech 9 socks on eBay and his fucking toothbrush and used fucking razor blade, like personal items of text to the point where there's like a rule in the rule book about it called the Calhoun rule. Did Strange ever issue a statement ever officially saying, yeah, homeboy's not attached over here no more? No.
But
But sooner or
should
later,
they?
Tech and him did. Like Tech kind of did, and kind of was like, "Yo, you're a fucking idiot." But these record labels never do that. Now, do I think they should? And that especially in the current climate, that it's important to draw these differential lines.
Yep.
Yes. But the then the fucking then the argument becomes, is it the record label's responsibility to educate the fan as to the multitude of reasons that an artist just their fucking contract just expires and it's not renewed? There's 1,000,000,000 reasons that shit could happen. So
Yeah.
what's the first place everybody goes? Oh, he's not on label no more. Where's the first place everybody goes? So
Yeah.
you open up a weird can of worms when you start talking about record labels and responsibility.
Because I know that was a question a lot of people, and that's a point a lot of people are making, and a lot of Strange Music fans are really pissed off that, well, one, there were some things that were said about like studio time, and that's kind of what this screenshot's alluding to here. It's like basically he's talking about his mental health. He's saying like he's trying to get clean, right? So this is that mental health aspect. This is that, like, I'm an addict. Like I'm openly admitting I have a problem. I'm trying to get things right, and Strange isn't helping at all. They're not putting him on shows, which I think has it's tricky
Well,
now
if you're
because of
trying to
COVID.
get sober and remain sober, then shows ain't the fucking place for you. And that's been shown time and time again, Gotti. Because to be honest with you, if since we want to talk like that, why would you leave a tour? Did you leave a tour or did you just miss bus call because you were in some crack house someplace? Now, like, pick one or the other. You
Yeah,
work or you're working on your sobriety. You take jobs or you take time off. You don't take a job and then claim you need to take time off. But like 5 months on a verse, especially nowadays, especially with what the turnaround time is for most people, that's ridiculous.
Well,
To
here's
use those things as excuses.
yeah, I think it's interesting, and I'm kind of torn between the two. You know, I think that with a label coming out and just blatantly putting it out there that hey, one of our artists has been scamming people, like it's kind of a bad PR move, you know, to some degree, right? What I think would be a better PR move for the underground, and I want to touch on this too because we have Travis and we have Tech, and we know that they're making bank, right? And they've worked very hard to get to that point, like no doubt. Like they've been at this for years. They've dedicated their lives to this. They've invested and took the risk on, and I think that speaks volumes of somebody when they're taking all the risk on. And I feel like they try to sidestep a lot of that risk in a lot of their signings as of late, but that's neither here nor there. But I feel like what could have been a better PR play, hey, you know what? Underground rapper that not too many people have heard about, and all these other like, you know, 10 people that we owe a total of, I don't know, 5 to 7,000 to. Let's wash our hands of this crap. We look what we just did. We just made it right. We took care of this. On top of that, Godemis is out. We took care of that for you guys.
What do you mean?
What do you think that would have done?
Shit?
Oh no, but what do you think that would have done? Like, what do you think people's reactions would have been to that crap?
Like that's like asking what's people's reactions going to be to fucking Travis O'Gwen walking on water. Because you know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's ridiculous. Because first of all, the way these contracts are structured and your typical underground deal these days, which no one should be entering into under any fucking circumstances, they're structured in a very free form way, especially over in Strange now, where it's almost a la carte, where you have a menu of stuff that the label can do for you or provide for you, and you pick shit off a list, and then your percentage changes and shit like that based on what they're providing for you or providing for yourself. So if Godemis as a solo artist never checked the feature booking, agent thing, then he's his own feature booking agent, and that's just the fucking way it is, right?
Yep. I thought it was interesting too that they're charging him $125. Supposedly, this is what he said, that they charge him $125. I assume an hour to go record at the studio.
Here's my question. Did Sleep Lyrical ever speak to anyone in the Strange office?
No.
Then this deal was not fucking sanctioned by Strange, which makes me think that Godemis was operating outside of the label. And because I have a Chris Calico feature. It's not out yet. There's a song coming out down the road that's got some people on it, one of them being Chris Calico. I'm not going to say anything else other than that. But given the fact I just put out a track not a month ago with Mad Child Slain and Apathy on it all together, people should know I ain't fucking around. The Chris Calico feature cost me X number of dollars, but you better fucking believe I had to talk to the office at some point, because you either have clearance, because you don't want Spotify to take your fucking feature and tell you can't post it because you didn't get clearance. And I'll tell you what, I jokingly use a snake and bat and I get a fucking cease and desist letter. So if anybody here is fraudulently using shit that even includes the adjective Strange, you're going to get a cease and desist letter, because that's who Travis is. So that's why I'm asking, like, there's very particular lines that if he didn't cross, there's not only no responsibility to assign, no one can be blamed, unfortunately. And it's just the nature of this bullshit we do.
Well, he plays into that too. Like the screenshot I'm going to show here, this in the bottom here, it's basically Godemis saying, you're not, this is him like kind of after everything blew up. He's saying, you're not getting anything back, talking slick. We should have done this privately, which is funny because I tried to do it privately with him and he didn't want to do that. So I can only imagine what he's doing for these artists that pay him $700 for a feature. But he also says at the very end, he says, number one rule, use a contract. We all know that. Like that's wild, dude.
Unfortunately,
that's wild. He's not wrong.
Now you know how I am, man. I'm pro creator, bro. I'm pro creator. But
Pro,
throughout the
wait,
course of my
Procreator. Okay.
I'm pro creator. Like if you create shit, then I'm on your side. Like I'm
Yep.
not on Travis's side. Like I'm to some degree, I'm not even on tech side. Like I'm not on the sides of these dudes who I don't see as being creative at all. But like that shit there, like I have no sympathy if you are the unfortunate few that sleep with the parakeets and fucking don't know how to work a contract. Because
Yep.
especially with digital, especially with Spotify, they will. How do you expect to get your money back?
Yep.
Like anybody, clearances are clearances. Like you need to understand that shit. Like contracts are contracts, even digitally. Like, yes, there is some validity to the verbal contract and your Facebook fucking log, but that's also fucking defensible in court.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can make shit up. If you get actual documents and shit, pretty much you can get blank ones online, like and
Yep.
modify them. They don't have to be confusing.
Yeah.
You agree on the price. You make sure you write in there and no other payments or royalties, right?
Yep.
You're not going to get shit if there's a video appearance. You're agreeing to appear for X number of days to film this video. If there's social media, like if you're expecting a motherfucker to share your shit on his gram, it better be in a contract somewhere that he's agreeing to X number of shares. Nobody's going to
That
share your shit, bro.
dude, preach it.
No
All
one's gonna
hail.
share your shit, bro. So he could have negotiated anything. Now, as far as negotiating strange, he's not authorized.
Right. Well, and
So
that's the kicker.
you'd never get your stuff on a playlist. Like, and he wouldn't even be the department to talk to on that.
Well, and he's the interesting part in this though. He's so at some point part of Ces Cru. I don't know where that lands right at this very moment, but he had a solo deal with Strange, and so depending on how all of that was structured, if he signed a 1 year Strange Music deal, or like a one, I think for them they do a lot of like albums, like, hey, you're gonna give me one album or two albums or whatever, whatever that deal was worked out between them.
It's like a cycle. I think
Yeah.
they call it like an album cycle.
Yeah, go through the tour, like, everything that's involved in that, whatever that deal was. I haven't seen it, I don't know exactly what it was, but I think that's the interesting part, is going back to your a la carte comment. If he was doing all of this kind of a la carte, which parts did he control and which parts did Strange control? Because it sounds to me, at least from the excuses he's giving, which I can't believe a mother effing word of anything he's saying at this point, but from the excuses I'm hearing, it seems like he's not getting a whole lot out of Strange, other than getting the Strange cosign and the fan base that comes with that. Where do you think with this Godemis situation? What do you, if you had to guess, right? Totally just pie in the sky, making it up. Like, where does this go from here with everything that we've seen? The last thing, real quick. Looking at this screenshot again, where it says, other people were kicked off the label too. Using two as TOO, as in he's also getting kicked off, and we don't know if that means Ces Cru or just Godemis's solo deal, expired or whatever that means, but. Where do you think this goes from here, man? Like, I'm very interested in hearing your perspective on this, because I feel like everyone's all over the place and nobody really knows what's going to happen or how Strange is going to handle this. But if you had to guess, what do you think it would be?
I don't think they handle it. I mean, it took Team Backpack how long to deal with the Taskmaster situation? Like it took them how long to deal with Cut Calhoun the first time? Motherfuckers are still asking if ABK's on Psychopathic. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your average fan is like the Turtle Club. No offense. Like, and I get that. Unfortunately, I made my hobby my main source of fucking monetary employment. So I get to look at things and see them from the non-fan perspective mostly. Think about the fact that nobody knew Chris Calico hadn't been under contract for damn near 18 months. Okay. From what I understand, he's not under contract now. 2020 changed a lot for a lot of people. And like, since we're kind of getting towards the end and we're talking about other people being kicked off, it may not even, I hate this. And this is where the education part comes in. And I feel like that's why people like me and you were important. Kicked off, I think, is kind of the wrong way to put shit. Cause like I said, there's a million fucking reasons why someone's contract may run out or may not be, renewed. And most of the time, in most cases, it's artist desire. Ritz didn't want to re-sign with Strange. He wanted to go do his own thing and do a la carte services through somebody else.
When it comes to the PR aspect of all of this crap happening, right? That is what the fans are feeling now. And normally for these kind of things, like in most record companies, everybody looks at a record company, like when you mention like Universal or any of these bigger companies, like everybody knows that the people at the top of those companies are just raking in money, right? I feel like though sometimes with these underground labels, the fans are so close to everything that's going on and they follow each individual. They're following the owners. Dude, I couldn't even tell you right now, like the owners of Sony, and I'm certainly not following them. But that's my point. Like people don't, when people are following like, like underground artists, they're knee deep and they're going all the way to the top with their following. They're not just following Tech Nine. They're following Tech Nine. They're following Travis. They're following the merch company. Like they're literally following every aspect of this.
Because it becomes the team dynamic is something that I say Death Row started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bad Boy did it. You realize that there is a cumulative effect to the tree team dynamic. A lot of these companies aren't saying that these people aren't on their labels anymore because they do not wish them harm.
But when
it's a consumer facing move. Now, any of these companies realize when you say somebody left, you're harming them. So if they don't want to cause an artist harm leaving the door, they're not going to say nothing. And that's where they get caught.
But that's exactly it though, Chuck. Like when that kind of stuff happens, it pisses off the fans because now like a lot of these people's fans are artists themselves, like they're in there making music, they're working directly with these artists themselves. Like they're knee deep in their fandom to these labels, and when you have this kind of stuff happen, it's different. It just hits different because they're so close to the companies in these organizations. It's different than if something goes on with Eminem, right? Like something through Eminem. Like it hits so different. If Eminem doesn't do a feature for somebody, you think that's even gonna scratch the freaking internet at all? Nobody gives an F about that.
No, because they blow it off. But you wouldn't be in a position to even.
No, but I
get what you're saying.
You know what I mean. It's just a different
drop
feel.
In the ocean.
Exactly.
It's a drop in the ocean.
Exactly. It's not even news. But for labels like this, when this kind of crap happens, it looks bad not only on the artist, but it also hits the label. And when the label doesn't respond, it makes the fans feel like exactly what you were describing. Travis, which again, he built that company personally, and I maybe we feel differently on this. I think he should be able to freaking go swimming in his money like Scrooge McDuck. He worked hard. He built that company up.
It's not liquid.
But it's a bad look.
It's thousands of very small pieces of metal that form a hard surface.
But it's a bad look. I think that's what we agree on. Terrible look. It's a horrible look, and there's no good spin to it.
So let me give you a worst case scenario. What happens now? People just get contracts expire. People just leave. Nothing is said. And the reason nothing is said is with that best of intention of the consumer facing. We don't want to take away your marketability with our fan base that you may have built during your time here strictly because your address changed, because fans are fickle. Fans fucking suck. Okay. They're fickle. You change addresses, they might not like you. Worst case scenario, something happens. Like what and a public statement has to go out that distances. And that happens for a variety of fucking reasons. We see it all the time. So typically, if an announcement's made, it's for a bad reason. So if this was to say get bad enough with the PR against Strange, and you could show instances where he was selling himself as Strange or selling Strange services perhaps he didn't have access to, they're not going to say shit.
Yeah.
Because they could also, and here's one for you. I learned a lot about this. When you leave a job and you go to another job and they call your old job and say, hey, How good of an employee was he? Your old job's not allowed to trash you. And technically, saying you were kicked off a label could be considered employment related libel. So I think by making no statement at all, these record labels are protecting themselves on a legality level very, very well.
So you
And
think
they're only making fucking announcements when there's a reason.
so you think they're better off at this point? I mean, for legal reasons and for their own
Yeah.
face value of they're saying a lot by saying a little, essentially, right?
Buyer beware. We know that.
Yeah.
The contract thing was absolutely right, especially if you're still dicking around and not fucking with contracts, you shouldn't be fucking with Ces Cru. You shouldn't think you're on that level. That's what I say about that.
Dude, I think this is a
So-
conversation for a whole nother episode, but
Yeah.
talking about contracts and stuff, like again, and here's the catch-22 with the contract, right? When you're doing a feature for $500, what is that contract worth in court? You know what I mean, Chuck? Like you know the deal when you go to court. Like it's not like you go to court and everything's a free ride. You go to court and you're paying money to get a couple $100s back, and a lot of the
small
times
claims court
yeah.
shit, if that. But
Yeah.
sometimes you can get there's damages that exceed that depending on what the situation is, and it's always good to have a contract because, like I said,
agreed.
like then you can negotiate. They're called clauses. Clause 1, you're going to Instagram my shit. Clause B, you're going to Facebook my shit. Clause I, you're going to put my shit on Twitter. Like you can negotiate anything for any amount of money nowadays. I mean, shit, I can get Andrew Dice Clay to call my mom a whore for her birthday. You know, you can negotiate anything nowadays, man. People are fucking broke. People trying to get more. Well, everybody's broke but Travis. So everybody out there trying to get his money. As far as the status of the roster, like you were talking about, from what I understand, Ces, I think the contract is still active. Yes.
Yeah, I think
UB
it
as
is
a
too.
solo artist is still active.
I'm gonna run through these comments that were left. One that I find awesome on here. Twisted Insane commented on the video, and he basically just told them straight up, like, "Hey everybody, I'm Twisted Insane, and I do features in 48 hours." so y'all can suck it.
That's what I mean. He could have easily have taken your shit and been like, to prove how wrong he is, for the next 48 hours, I'm doing verses at 80% my regular price, and I guarantee him by Monday.
Yep,
and
dude.
He would have gotten a grip of fucking promotion off you doing that.
Oh my god.
I'm sure you would have even said, Joe, hit him up. Let's see how many he can do.
I would have had dude on the vlog, and I would have been eating a freaking feast full of crow for however long he needed me to, and I would have been like, you can promote right here to everybody that I just talked to, and you can make this all right, and he chose not to. Whatever though. But yeah, dude, I had to show that one because it was freaking hilarious to me. And there's just a bunch of other ones in here, like of people just saying like, yeah, I was ripped off too. You know, there's so many, so I'm just gonna run through them real quick here, just so you guys have them and they're out there in the freaking ether. We've covered so much, man. Like,
yeah, man, if you're a strange music head, this was a good episode for you. But just appreciate what you got, appreciate what is going on over there, and just be flexible with these artists, please, and understand a label deal can dissolve because you wanted it to. Like, straight up, it can dissolve because you wanted it to.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You know, it's not necessarily everyone's getting canned or they did anything wrong. Sometimes it's just, hey, their deal expired. It's like a sport, right? You're on a team for
hey, there's a pandemic. We lost 80% of our income this year, and I needed to spend $1 million on Ferraris. Bye, Chris Calico.
I'm gonna assume that, you know,
hey, JL Hood, I traded you for a Ford Focus convertible. Get the fuck out.
Oh my god,
King ISO,
you're killing me.
You're safe. Like it's no. I can imagine
the salary cap has gone down.
I can imagine there being a fucking like a barbecue at Strange Music, and there's a fire in the middle, and all the artists are sitting semicircle, and Travis comes walking in like Jeff Probst on fucking Survivor and starts pointing at motherfuckers, and is like, "You've been voted off the island, JL Hood." Like,
oh my god.
Out.
Yeah,
I can
dude.
see that happening. But yeah, things had to change as we see some people growing, some people shrinking. It is what it is, man. If you had a high overhead before the fucking pandemic, your shit's done.
What do people need to search to find you?
BeastHostBeard.com. That's the portal. That's what we call the head portal. You go in there and it's just, the latest thing that I'm pushing, and then the stores, my gram, my Facebook that I just upload to. And on all my platforms, we got daily content, whether it's new, whether it's part of the, Epicenter Online exclusive Q Strange drops, whether it's a creator spotlight on that channel, whether it's a repurposed clip from some of my content, which, we do a lot of those over there now. Every day on all my platforms, we put content up. I took an entire year off from YouTube to work on the Astronomicon YouTube for Twisted, which is like a pop culture convention, and that content was all pop culture related. I built that channel to damn near 7,000 subs in less than 6 months. So I'm taking what I learned from that and applying it to my own shit now. And it's working. People
Yeah.
are consuming. That's why it's like, make shit.
Yep.
The more shit you make, the more shit I have to talk about. That's the way I feel about it. If you make music,
Yep.
whether it's good or bad, you're giving us stuff to critique and talk about. I'm selling everything from hats. Shout to my man Nems for giving me that inspiration. We're currently running 4 different merch stores through Scumbag Superstar, 2 of my own, 2 for the Scumbag Superstar brand. Fucking the YouTube channel, 9 different platforms on audio.
I cannot recommend this guy enough. So if you do fall into one of those categories that Chuck was just mentioning, you got to hit him up. In this
Which
day
is
and
literally
age,
anything.
yeah, right, dude. There's got to be something that he can partner with you with and help be something that's going to be beneficial to both parties. So definitely, he's got my stamp of approval. And the second I hear that Chuck's ripping people off, we'll be right back here talking about it. No,
Oh yeah, for
no,
sure. I'll pay people back. I'll pay people back at more than $20 a week.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But thanks again, Chuck, for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Again, BeastHostBeard. Check him out. Go buy his merch. Go support his stuff. He's been putting out content for years. If there's a guy in the underground that I could say has actually put in the hard work, he goes to shows. He hosts shows all the time. He doesn't have the word host in his name for no reason.
Yeah, no, that's for no reason at all. I'll tell you.
So he's definitely one of those guys that in one way or the other you've probably inadvertently run into without even maybe knowing it in your journey in the underground music scene. So again, man, thank you for coming on. Anything last you want to say here? Any special shout outs to any place in particular?
Hey, you know what, man? I just want to thank you for the invitation. This has been a long time coming. We've kind of been interacting since the Team Backpack grind mode days.
Years,
myself
dude.
And
Years.
I've grown since then, and so is you. But I'm just going to say one thing, because straight up, man, this, like any other, just another motherfucking day in the underground.